Alright, 5th graders, here's your first video for science class. Please make sure that you have your notes page with you so that you can take notes as we go through this video. Once you have your completed notes taken care of, you are going to want to bring that page into science class so that we can get it glued into your notebook. If you do not have your notes page or you have misplaced it, you may go back to the website and you will find a link where you can print the notes page off for yourself again. Alright, Science Video 1, Process versus Cycle. Alright, what is a cycle? We're going to write here, a cycle is something that happens over and over and over the same way. Some cycles are a part of everyday life. Is order important in these steps? And explain. Alright, we're going to put here, sometimes order is important. And sometimes order is not important. Alright, in the next examples that we look at, we are going to see this thing where sometimes order is important and sometimes order is not. So let's look at our first example of a cycle. One example of a cycle is your school day. So you're going to think to yourself, alright, what do we do first in our cycle of our school day? Well, we are going to get up. So you may write that in your first block. After we have gotten up, we are going to shower. Our third step in our cycle is going to be getting dressed. And then we're going to eat breakfast and brush our teeth. Then we get to go to school. After we have gotten to school, we are going to go through our school day. And then you get to go home. Yahoo! Alright, after you've gotten home, you may do your homework. And then you may eat dinner. And then watch TV. And then go to bed. Alright, on the slide before we talked about where sometimes order is important and sometimes order is not important. An example of this cycle where order would be important is you should eat breakfast before brushing your teeth. And an example where order is not important would be you may watch TV after or before eating dinner. So sometimes that order is important and sometimes that order is not. An example of a cycle in class would be creating an entry for your science notebook. So you're going to think to yourself, alright, what's the first thing that we do once we have our science notebooks out in class? Well, the first thing that you're going to do is create your table of contents entry with your date, title, and page number. So you may go ahead and write that in your first block. Then our second step of our entry for our science notebook cycle would be turning to your next available page in your notebook. You may write that in your second block. Your third step would be check to make sure the spiral is on your left and not the right. And that's where you are just making sure that you are on the front of a page and not the back of a page. Alright, so after you've created your table of contents, you've turned to your next available page, and you've made sure that that spiral is on the left, you're going to write the date in the top left of your page. After you have done that, you may write the page number in the top right of the page. And your final step in this cycle would be writing the title on the title line. Alright, sometimes order is important and sometimes it is not. The first 3 steps of this cycle would be important. You would probably want to take care of your table of contents and turn to your next available page and make sure you're on the correct side of your paper before you write your date and your page number and your title. The last 3 steps of this cycle, order is not important. You may write your page number first and then your date and then your title. Or you may write your title first and then your page number and then your date. Nice job, 5th graders. Moving right along to the next slide, we're going to look at a process. What is a process? So we're going to write here, a process is something that happens step by step. Usually, materials or conditions are needed for the process to happen. Usually, there is a product or outcome for the process at the end. Some processes are a part of everyday life. Alright, so in a process, is order important? Yes. We are going to look at an example where order is important and our product or our outcome would take longer to get to if the steps were out of order. So let's look at that example. If I can get my slides to come up. Alright, let's look at that example of a process where order is important. Let's take brushing your teeth. Alright, our materials needed to brush our teeth are going to be our toothpaste, and our brush, and some water. Alright, remember in our process, order is important. So the first thing that you're going to do when brushing your teeth is squeeze toothpaste onto the brush. So let's write that in number 1. Squeeze toothpaste onto our brush. All right, the second step in this process would to be brush your teeth. Making sure you get all those sugar bugs out. All right, step 3 would be to spit and rinse your mouth out. So let's write that. That's a T, not a K. All right, step 4 would be to rinse your brush. And then last but not least, clean up. And that would be to put your toothpaste and your brush away. So we're just going to write clean up as our 5th step. All right, so your product or your outcome in this process would be clean teeth. No sugar bugs. All right, let's look at a process in science. Our process in science is going to be our scientific process. So here I have listed the steps of your scientific process, and then we're just going to match them up. A, B, C, D, E, and F. All right, A is finding out about the topic. So I'm going to think to myself, all right, experiment, research, conclusion, hypothesis, purpose, or analysis. Where we find out about our topic is going to be research. So over here, let's put our A and then cross that out. All right, B, compare the hypothesis to the results of the experiment and make a statement about what the investigation shows based on the data. That is going to be conclusion. B. All right, C says record observations and results of the experiment. Organize the information in a table or a graph. That is going to be analysis. So let's mark it over here as C. D. State the problem as a testable question. What are you trying to learn? That is your purpose. D. All right, E says predict the outcome of the problem. Written in an if-then statement. Ding, 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 ding. Let's underline that because that's important. If-then statement, and it can be proven or disproven. You are never wrong. E is going to be hypothesis. Hypothesis is your if-then statement, and we're going to be working on that in class this week, so you're going to get used to writing if-then statements. Last but not least, F, plan and conduct a procedure to test the hypothesis. It involves a constant, which is the thing that stays the same, and a variable, the thing that changes. That is going to be your actual experiment. F. All right. You have successfully completed your first science video. Please make sure that you bring your completed notes page into class because you are going to be gluing that into your notebook. All right, 5th graders, work hard, be nice, and we will see you in class.